we must take it as a wake-up call that if we've been sitting on gold mines, arable lands, our resources, natural resources, mineral resources, the intellectuals who are in this continent, the youth who are the biggest in population, and we thought we have others who can come and help us. No, we should use this time to reorganize ourselves.
We must see this as a wake-up call. Despite sitting on gold mines, fertile lands, rich natural and mineral resources, and housing the largest youth population, we've too often looked outside for salvation. That era must end. It's time to reorganize and build from within. Hey family, let's be real. African nations are standing at a critical crossroads. Leaders are scrambling for strategies as a new global chess match unfolds, and Trump's tariffs and a global trade war are the opening moves. From Ghana to Kenya, South Africa to Zimbabwe. Some leaders are responding with calm negotiation, others with resistance, and some are folding fast under pressure. Today, we dive into how Africa's leaders are handling Trump's economic offensive and what it could mean for the future of US-Africa trade. Before we go further, I invite you to join something bigger. We're creating a space where Black stories are told with truth, power, and care. If that matters to you, hit subscribe, tap the bell, and consider joining our membership or dropping a super thanks to support this work. Now, let's get into it. For 2 decades, African nations benefited from the African Growth and Opportunity Act, or AGOA, allowing duty-free exports of thousands of products to the US. This deal built industries and saved economies, but AGOA was always conditional based on political alignment and Washington's approval. In 2025, everything changed. Trump's America First return didn't just target China, it came after the Global South too. He imposed a blanket 10% tariff on imports to the US, with some African countries facing up to 50%. In one move, AGOA's advantages were wiped out. Here's a visual. 29 African countries got a 10% tariff, while 22 others got hit with higher rates. Only a few critical minerals were spared. African industries that depended on AGOA are now teetering. This isn't just a policy change, it's a power play, and it's forcing African leaders to choose, adapt, resist, or reimagine. Across the continent, responses vary. Some play it safe, others stand firm, some pivot, but one truth is clear. Africa's dependence on external markets isn't just risky, it's now a weapon used against us. Let's break down some country reactions. South Africa was slapped with a 31% tariff. Leaders are calm, aiming for negotiations and possibly a quota system, but Trump's anger over land reform laws already soured relations. South Africa's ambassador to the US was expelled. Given the political baggage, a peaceful resolution seems unlikely.
As regards the United States, like any other country, is a sovereign country, and they are entitled to take decisions in whichever way they want to, like ourselves. We are a sovereign country and we can decide on any matter that has to do with our international dealings with others, and so it is within our right as it is within their right. They have imposed tariffs and we are examining the impact of those tariffs on us, and as the Minister of Trade and Industry and Competition said, we will be able to state what our position is. So in the end, these are matters that we are going to continue dealing with in a very responsible and very, very proper manner. And we are not a government that will just act out of spite, and we are not a government that will act out of emotions. Everything that we do, we examine very carefully and look at the implications and the impact. So that is exactly what we are going to do.
Zimbabwe was the first to cave. President Mnangagwa announced the suspension of all tariffs on US goods, hoping to mend ties. It sounded diplomatic, but came with no US concessions. Zimbabwe gave without getting anything back. Economically, It's a dangerous gamble, leaving industries exposed to US competition. Lesotho was hit hardest, a brutal 50% tariff. The textile industry, vital to its economy and 12,000 jobs, is now in jeopardy. Lesotho plans to engage diplomatically while seeking new markets under the African Continental Free Trade Agreement and the EU.
We are not going to die. We will have to diversify and go to other markets. We have Africa CFTA as a market, South Africa also as a market under the SACU regime. We just have to diversify and go to other markets.
Kenya sees opportunity. Despite a 10% tariff, it's less than what rivals like Vietnam or Bangladesh face. Trade Minister Moses Kuria hopes Kenya can gain an edge, but high costs of manufacturing and weak infrastructure remain challenges. Ghana's President Mahama criticized the United States' unilateral move and called for a return to multilateral rules-based trade. Ghana is working closely with the U.S. ambassador to seek possible exemptions.
The Minister of Foreign Affairs, and we talked about how the relationship with Ghana is very strong and how we can keep it going that way, and the sort of details of what these global tariffs are, and some things where the United States and Ghana can improve our trade relations.
We're in the lowest tariff regime. What does that mean to, between the relations that we have?
Well, I hope that it means that Ghana will have some benefit vis-a-vis its competitors, but we'll dig in and continue to talk.
I feel you've convinced the minister enough.
The minister and I are good friends.
Madagascar was hit with a 47% tariff, risking tens of thousands of textile jobs. The government is in urgent talks with U.S. officials and other African countries to coordinate a response. Mauritius, facing a 40% tariff, is quietly pushing for diplomatic talks while shifting focus toward African and Asian markets. Nigeria got a 14% tariff. Trade Minister Jumoke Odowol stressed diplomacy, but Nigeria's non-oil sectors like agriculture and leather may still suffer. Uganda's President Museveni came out swinging. In a fiery speech, he exposed the brutal global trade system. Africa exports raw coffee at $2.50 a kilo, while processed coffee sells for $40. Africa only gets crumbs from a $460 billion global coffee industry. Museveni announced a ban on raw mineral exports, arguing it's better to leave resources in the ground than to give them away cheaply.
I was meeting an American delegation just now, and I was telling them that please, the new government of Mr. Trump, be clear on this point. When you export and process coffee, as we have been doing all this time, you get about $2.5 a kilo. The price is now a bit higher, but normally it was around $2.5 a kilo of very good coffee. What they call screen 18, the one with good seeds. When somebody goes and makes coffee, powdered coffee out of that, he may get as much as $40. Now, according to the present value of business in the world of coffee, the present value is $460 billion. The value of coffee business in the world. How much are the coffee exporting countries getting out of that? Only $25 billion. $460 billion, but all the coffee growing countries of the world, all of them, Brazil, Colombia, Vietnam, Uganda, Africa, you get $25 billion. Our wonderful Africa, out of that, gets $2.5 billion. And $1.6 billion of that is coming to Uganda now. But this is because of the high coffee prices. Normally Uganda gets about 900 million out of the 2.5 billion. So, now, if you take a raw material like cotton, so in other words, in every kilogram of coffee, Africa is donating about more than $20 to the rest of the world.
Uganda is now doubling down on regional markets and the AfCFTA while also exploring EU trade partnerships. Rwanda, after a history of tough stances with the US, is quietly navigating the waters. After hosting Trump's senior advisor, Masad Boulous, it's clear Rwanda is staying strategic and cautious. Ethiopia, hit with a 10% tariff, briefly posted, then deleted a statement suggesting the tariffs could offer opportunities. Here's the bottom line. This isn't just about tariffs, it's about leverage. Africa's heavy reliance on raw material exports and external markets has left it dangerously exposed. One policy shift in Washington, and entire industries in Africa shake. Some countries like Zimbabwe and Lesotho are folding. Others like Uganda, Rwanda, and Madagascar are resisting and pivoting. Still, others like Ghana, Kenya, and Mauritius are trying to balance diplomacy with survival. But make no mistake, these tariffs didn't cause a crisis, they exposed one. President Museveni's warning is right. Africa isn't trading, it's donating. Donating value, donating jobs, and staying on this path is no longer just risky, it's existential. The good news? This moment could be a catalyst. Regional integration, value addition, trade diversification, they're no longer buzzwords, they're survival strategies. And yet, as of now, the African Union has said nothing. That's deeply troubling. CARICOM nations under Prime Minister Mia Mottley have responded with a unified voice. Where is Africa's voice? It's clear. We need continental coordination, not just individual country reactions. If you've been nodding along, shaking your head, or yelling at your screen, good. That means you're awake, because this isn't just about trade, it's about Africa's future. Now I want to hear from you. Which country is handling this smartest? If you were advising your president today, what would you say? Drop a comment. I'll be right there with you. Thanks for tuning in, family. Until next time, take care. And don't forget, if you enjoyed this, hit like, share it with your group chat, and join our community. Let's build together.